Hello everybody, Bricks for Dom here, and today I will be showcasing my Squid Game Starry Night build. And so, yeah, I guess let's just get on with it. So I'll first show you the main room where all of the players got picked if they were the seeker or the person who was hiding. And so one of the prominent things in this room was of course the knife-shaped door, which I think turned out pretty great. I simply used this arch piece. The room definitely isn't as big as it should be. This is simply just, a representation of a room, just at a lot smaller scale. I obviously made the carpet yellow, and there are also some dark gray stripes. When I first made this build, I used black bricks, but then I decided to change it to dark gray to make it more accurate. And as you can see, there are certain indents in the wall, and there are also places for the players to sit. And of course, right in the middle of the room is the gumball machine. The shape isn't perfect, but it is the best that I could do at this minifigure scale, but I do still like how it turns out. There's obviously the knob that the players can turn so that the red or blue ball falls out. But I mean, yeah, I'm fairly happy with how this room turned out. And I mean, yeah, let's just move on to the next room. So the next room is sort of like the entrance to the corridor, the yellow corridor. So there's some stairs, and once again there's the yellow carpet, and then the door shape is now a keyhole shape, which I tried to represent, and I think it turned out good enough. It could definitely be more perfect, but it is fairly difficult to do the circular shape at the very top. Then obviously behind the door there's simply just a completely yellow corridor, which is pretty basic, but it is nice to pose some minifigures on the corridor. And that you can of course connect this room to the previous room, and you're able to make this all like longer corridor and a longer room. Alright, and finally, for the last room, we have the main attraction, the Starry Night game. So once the players go through the yellow corridor, they are greeted by these big dark green doors, which you can actually open. They do get a little bit stuck, which isn't perfect, but I mean, at least they can open, right? And so yeah, once the players go through the green doors, they are greeted by the main Starry Night game entrance, which I recreated. I tried my best to make the walls as similar as the actual show by recreating the different colors and texture. So for the first layer of a wall, I simply used regular bricks in tan, dark tan, white, and other similar colors to represent a very dirty, sort of like sandy wall. And then above that layer I used masonry bricks in similar colors, and then above that we have the blue walls. And I also tried to create some of the paintings that we can see on the walls using 1x1 plates. And I obviously tried to include as many stars as I could on the walls as well as on the roof of a game, since this is the Starry Night game. This isn't a picture perfect recreation of this room, since all of my rooms only go straight, all of the corridors, while in the actual show some of the rooms go up and down. As well as I think I included not the correct number of corridors. In my build there are only 4 directions for the minifigures to go to, while in the show I believe there are more directions. Once again, I get the main idea across, as well as the paintings aren't perfect, but once again, I do like how it turned out. There are also a few cameras on the walls, since we can see that in the show. And then for the big pole, I included some of the lights as well as the wiring that goes in certain directions. And on one of the walls we obviously have the clock on how long the game is going to be going on for. Unfortunately, this 1x2 printed brick would have been perfect for the clock, but I had to make do with what I have, and so I used a different sticker. And I also tried to simply hide certain details of a sticker so that it would look more accurate. I also included some details on the ground simply just by using some tiles. I do also like how the corridors are fairly narrow, just like in the show. So, there could definitely be some paranoia for certain players who have claustrophobia. And then for the roof, what I simply did was just stacked a bunch of blue bricks on top of one another, and I included pieces that have studs on the side. And once again, I simply tried to include as many stars on the roof and side of the walls as I could. And some of the pieces that I used are actually flower pieces, which I think still get the idea across. I also used some axle pieces in yellow, as well as this big star piece, which I'm very lucky to have, since there are also very large stars represented on the walls as well as the roof. And so yeah, I guess let's try and post some minifigures. So over here we have one of the Seekers, which you can tell by the fact that he is wearing a red vest, and he also has a knife, as well as he has stolen a key from one unlucky hider. There are also two players who were the hiders, and unfortunately they were found. One of the players is on their face, while the other player I guess spilled some ketchup on himself, and he is just laying on his back. And as you can see, he has a blue vest, and that way you can identify that he was a hider. And so yeah, I guess that is pretty much it for this build. I did also try to use some yellowed pieces. So once again, the colors for the actual roof as well as walls are, fairly dirty and musty, and also the paint has simply started to chip off and start to change color. And so I think using yellowed pieces represents that fairly well. So now I will simply make some camera shots so that you can get immersed into the feel of being in this game. But yeah, everybody, this is going to be the end for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. This will probably be the end for me when it comes to Squid Game, unless a lot of you will want me to make more. For example, a different game, a different room, and other characters, and so on. I was thinking of making one more project, but in the end I decided to move on to other projects. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I hope you had a lot of fun watching my Squid Game videos. So yeah, thank you for watching. Brixit, I'm out. Goodbye.